A dear friend just gave me the best idea ever. She took her wedding dress that had been in the closet for over 30 years and she repurposed it to a beautiful Christmas tree skirt. Watch how you can do it yourself. It is fun to have crafty, talented friends, and my dear friend Kathy took her wedding dress and then took another friend's dress and did one for her as well, and I thought it was a brilliant idea. She took the dresses and she converted them into Christmas tree skirts. So today I'm going to show you everything you need to know on how you can do it for your dress. All the dresses are a little different. Some are long, some are short, but with what I'm going to show you, you can apply that to your style. Okay, so here is my wedding dress. Here's a picture of me wearing it over 28 years ago. It is a shorter dress, which I thought was a great illustration to show you that you can make a tree skirt even if you had a shorter dress. Okay, so the first thing you need to do, get a scrap piece of fabric and cut out this pattern piece. Here's a picture of it so you can get your measurements. At the bottom of the triangle, it's 18 inches wide, and at the top, it's 3.5 inches wide. Each side is 21 inches, but then it curves down to 22 inches in the middle. So when you can cut that out, then you have it that you can lay it directly onto your wedding skirt. Obviously, all wedding dresses are going to be a little different. Mine had an edging, a trim work on the bottom that I don't want to disturb. I want that to be the edge of my Christmas tree skirt. And it also had some motifs up here that we hand sewed. My mom made this dress for me, and so it's very special that I want to be able to preserve it for many reasons. So I want to cut out my motifs. If I was to remove the motif, my beading would fall apart. So I am going to take time and cut out around each of these motifs and secure the edges. I am going to take apart the waist. And if yours is going to be too tough to take apart, you can just cut along the edge. But on mine, I have some lace that goes in between the bodice and the skirt. On the back, there are 3 tiers of ruffles that I want to take those apart and incorporate it into the whole skirt. So I'm just going to tear it apart and show you a little bit of some of the challenges and things you're going to want to look for on your dress. So to try to figure out what needs to be cut and versus what needs to be removed with a seam ripper, lay your pattern piece on your skirt to see how far up it goes and to see what motifs you want to keep. I have an extra 8 or 10 inches there. This here is the ruffle that I was showing you. So I am going to cut along the side of those so that I can attach those to the skirt. So just check to see. I want this to be the edge. This will be the top. So I am going to just cut, instead of seam ripping that, I'm going to cut the bodice off from one side of the ruffle to the other and see what we get. I have to admit, this feels really weird cutting my wedding dress, but I am so excited. This has literally been up in the top of my closet for years, and now we get to enjoy it in another way. You will need 8 of these triangles from your skirt. So if you want to just lay it out and make sure when you start analyzing what you're keeping and what you're going to apply somewhere else, that you have 8 of these. Okay, and then now this is a seam that goes down the skirt that is holding my ruffles. So I'm going to cut straight down that seam. And the same with the other side. I need to have these pieces as well to finish my 8 pieces. So I am going to cut along the side of my ruffles here as close as I can to the edge, and on this side as well. Okay, I ironed the skirt out a little bit because it has been in a box. But when you're ironing yours, make sure sometimes elegant fabric like this doesn't iron well, that it melts. So just double check that before you start doing it. So what I've done, this is the pattern piece. I am going to place it on the fold 4 different times because we need 8 of these in total. So I'm going to place it on the fold. But as I said, I want to preserve this. So for me, I have drawn the pattern piece and I'm going to extend it clear down to the corner. Yours might be a total different shape to where you're going to need to cut along that and then move up your trim work. But I'm going to try this first. So I'm going to cut out 4 different one of these on the fold. Okay, so then our next pieces should meet up to this pretty good, so we'll just cut them and adjust as needed. There, that should work. I needed to have a straight line down this side so that it matches up with the others. If you don't have enough of one piece to do it on the fold, by all means you can cut them individually. So let's see how these match up. This is the other one I just cut. I'm guessing we have to do some adjusting, but we'll see here. Oh, not so bad. So we'll get these cut out and then we can sew them together. Okay, they are all cut out, so I'm just going to do a hand motion with the camera so you can see that the concept, they're all just laying in their general position. Now I'm going to pin the pieces right sides together, going to match up the pretty lace end, your finished end, and trim it on this end if necessary for the circle that goes around the trunk of the tree. But just going to pin this, then we'll take it to the sewing machine and sew it together. I have the 3 seams pinned. Remember, we're not making a full circle. You're going to leave one side of them opened. But I have 3 pinned. Start sewing from the finished end, and then, like I said a second ago, we will adjust this circle after the fact. But I'm just going to do a narrow seam here. So I'm just going to do a 1/4 inch seam. Since satin ravels and a lot of other fabrics would as well, I'm going to go ahead and zigzag this seam to make sure we don't have any fraying. Perfect. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other 2 seams. The center circle of the skirt might look a little wonky on yours because of how you had to adjust your pattern piece, which is what happened on mine. This one here, I had to adjust it a little bit different. So I am just going to sketch to make it a smooth transition because the rest of these match up pretty good. It's just this one didn't line up as well. So I'm just going to trim that. Then I'm going to go back to the machine and I'm going to zigzag. This is the opening that is on the back of the skirt. I'm going to zigzag stitch all the way around so that we don't have any fraying, and then I'm just going to turn it under about 1/4 of an inch and do a straight stitch. So that's how I'm going to finish my opening, because I did not have a lining on my dress. Maybe if you had one, you might want to sew the lining so that you have the back side covered. But I'm going to zigzag and do a single fold hem and then come back for the next step. Okay, I have my single fold hem on the opening and then around the center circle, and I've pressed it and trimmed my threads. Now I'm evaluating what I want to do next. So remember, my dress had 3 layers of ruffles on the back. So we have a short layer, medium, and then a long layer. So I just measured the diameter of the skirt, the sewn skirt, and then I measured this. There's enough to cut this apart and make a second layer of ruffle on the tree skirt. So it would look something like this. It would have a layer free flowing on top of this one. So I'm going to go ahead and cut as close as I can to the top of each of these layers and make a continuous, the longest continuous ruffle that I can with the height, and then I will sew it to this. So first of all, I need to cut this apart. Okay, so this is the tree skirt that we have sewn, and here is the ruffle that I just cut off. Oh my goodness, I think it's going to work good. I got a little crazy with my scissors there, so I think I'm going to figure out how to get that back together. Okay, I have a plan. Since this already has the right curve to it, I am going to put right side to wrong side. So this is the right side of my ruffle. This is the wrong side of the skirt. And I am going to hand baste this. I'm going to feed it in and hand baste it. Once I get it to how I like it, I will sew it on the machine. So then what's going to happen, pretend that this is sewn here. I'm going to flip this over and it will have a extra ruffle up around the center of the trunk. So again, I'll get my needle and thread here and I'll show you what I'm going to do on this. I'm going to hand baste this and just feed in the slack, sew a permanent seam on the machine, and then flip this over. Okay, to start with, I'm just going to go ahead and pin in some of the key spots. And again, I did catch this with my scissors, so when I'm basting, I'm just going to mend that on the back side. I have it ready to start basting, but I realized I want to finish this edge here before I pin it on here. So I'm going to go to the machine, zigzag it, and then do a single fold hem on both ends, and then I'll come back and we'll pin it on here. Okay, I have it basted along the edge, and I repaired my little spot where I had caught it with the scissors. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to sew on the machine here along this edge, clean it up a little bit, so then this will flip over. This is the right side of the skirt. This is going to flip over. So it's going to give some height back there. So I'll go to the machine and I will sew that along the edge. I could not have asked for anything better. This just went together super easy. I love the way it has some height and volume, and my little nip of the scissors there, I was able to hide it in a little tuck and pleat, and so you can't even see it. The cool thing is, I have some wedding dress left, and I am now going to make some Christmas stockings out of the leftovers. So check back to the channel. Once I get those that video done, I'll put it on there as well. But here are the completed tree skirt out of my 1993 wedding dress. So if you have any questions when you're doing your tree skirt, please comment down below, and I would love to see pictures. Comment down below and get in touch with me, and we'll share some pictures, because this is quite a way to be able to enjoy such a beautiful dress. So as always, thank you for watching DIY on the House.